Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So many of you sent me messages asking me to do another marathon, this time for communication studies and some other subjects. And I'm sorry I couldn't go live, but if I had gone live, it would be at some time that's very inconvenient to you all, I'm sure. And I also had to prepare for the chemistry unit 2 because they've been asking for that as well, or you guys have been asking for that as well. So yeah, so I had to just, do a simple recording and stuff, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to do any editing or anything like that. I'm going to just post the raw video because I need to get this out to you guys before your exams actually come around, So, this won't be like a video where I'll something here. This won't be a video where I'll go through in too much detail about how to go about doing this, but rather just giving you some tips and pointers that I employed when I was writing my essays for my grade 12 year. Alright, now module 1. Module 1 is basically about gathering and processing information, and most times the question asks you to deal with organizational strategies and language techniques. Wait a minute. If you're not following me on Instagram, do me a huge favor and go over there to _CAM_EO or at young_genius.official and follow me on my pages. I'll follow you back on _CAM_EO. Alright, so yeah, do that real quick for me. And let's just dive into this, I guess. So whenever you're writing your essays, what you want to keep in mind, when they ask you to identify your strategies and your techniques, you need to provide evidence for where you saw them, right? So I'm going to go through my first practice essay that I did, right, and show you how I went about doing it. I guess I'll shoot a pic of the actual paper that I wrote on. Of course, I didn't use that picture for the entire video because kind of look like you go through World War III and come back, and I kind of like my things to be at a certain quality, so that's the reason. So let's deal with this, right? So I think this was from the 2010 communication studies paper, right? And what you want to do is read through your extract and pick up strategies and techniques used, right? That's the basic thing that you want to do. All right, so let's start with the reading. So after analyzing 102 local TV newscasts from 52 metropolitan areas in the United States for content and presentation, a media watch group found that only 41.3% of the programs contained news. What makes up the rest of the newscast, right? Now, on an average, 30.4% of airtime of local TV news consists of commercials. In fact, some of the stations surveyed devoted more time to commercials than news. In addition, news airtime is often filled with fluff, states the report summarizing the findings of the study. All right, let's do a quick pause and stuff. All right, first of all, 102 newscasts, right? My hand isn't on my table. All right, great. 102 newscasts and 52 metropolitan areas. Also, we see 30.4% of airtime. All of this, we can say we are already seeing the use of statistical data, right? So that's already an organizational strategy that we're seeing, right? Let's continue for a bit. Now, under the headline fluff, the report groups the cumulative airtime given to chit-chat between anchors, promotions, and previews of upcoming stories, the soft or silly news, and the items about celebrities. A sample of some fluff stories. Terrible tenors contest. Reporters takes awesome, incredible, astounding ride on roller coaster. And more people buy sandwich spread at supermarkets. Alright. Analyzing right here, we see the use of inverted commas, right? Now the use of inverted commas, that's also a strategy, right? And fluff here is also, I think it's hyperbolic, right? So I would say hyperbole is used here, and this could be used as a technique rather than a strategy. And over here, soft as well in inverted commas. Right here, terrible tenors contest, reporter takes awesome, incredible, astounding ride on roller coaster, and more people buy sandwich spread at supermarkets. This is alliteration, right? So that could be a technique as well. Alright, so inverted commas, use of statistical data thus far, those we have seen as strategies. Hyperbole and alliteration, those can be techniques. But we're not done. There is more to the extract, so let's go through the entire thing. What you want to do is go through the entire extract, read, get a feel of what it's trying to tell you. That's why you're going to go through and try to find the main point and actually what the writer's purpose is, right? Once you've figured that out, you should be able to analyze the piece and find out the rest of what you're supposed to find, like the strategies and the techniques, right? Now this says, what stories make up the news? Crime stories dominate the news, comprising 26.9% of the news airtime. If it bleeds, it leads remains a truism on local TV news. Crime rates have been down across the US over the last few years, but not on local television news. Why? That's a question. According to the authors of the study, crime events are dramatic and gain people's attention. Now, I need you to pay attention right here. What makes up the news? Crime stories dominate the news. This is what we call hypophora, right? Now, hypophora is where a question is posed and directly after or immediately after the answer is given. And we've seen this twice right here when they say what makes up the news, and right here when they ask why and they say according to the authors of the study, right? So this is also the use of hypophora. Right here, if it bleeds, it leads remains a truism on local TV news. Now, if it bleeds, it leads. This is kind of satirical to me. So I think I had jotted this down here as satire, right? Satire. And that I had left for a technique. Now, the difference between the techniques and the strategies are, the techniques are more the figurative devices used to enhance the piece, while the organizational strategies are more the ones that are used to construct the piece or lay the foundation for the piece, I guess. Now, the next paragraph, next to crime comes coverage of disasters such as fires, car crashes, floods, and explosions, 12.2% of the news, followed by sports news, 11.4%. Then comes coverage of health, 10.1%, government, 8.7%, and the economy, 8.5%. Such topics as education, the environment, the arts, and science receive little attention, from 1.3 to 3.6%. Weather reports, on the other hand, average 10% of all newscasts. Everybody likes to talk about the weather, and TV news is no exception, comment the researchers. They add, any type of weather, good or bad, hot or cold, wet or dry, can elicit extensive TV news coverage. Here, where I see them listing disasters such as fires, car crashes, floods and explosions, sports news. Then they spoke about health, government, the economy. Then they stated that the education, the environment, arts, and science receive little attention. This, I can safely say, is use of examples, and these are examples of what actually comes on the news, no matter how small. They're showing the proportions of what is shown on the news, but it's still giving us examples of what is on the news, right? So that could be another strategy. And while I go through this piece, try to pick up some more, drop them in the comments if you have. Guys, I don't know how many of you do read the comments, but it can be quite effective for you to read through the comments and see what other people have to say, because I'm one person, and most times some of these things are just my opinion. Like stuff like this, you have to be able to support your answer with evidence, right? And once you can give plausible evidence as to why your answer is correct, then by all means, I believe you deserve your marks. So always look in the comments to see what others have to say, and this is actually a great way to find out what the Caribbean has to say. See that you're taking a Caribbean examination, because you have people from Trinidad in the comments, you have from Barbados, I think someone from St. Kitts had linked me the other day, right? So take advantage of the comments. All right, where was I? I think I actually, okay. On a positive note, the report states that a growing number of journalists and viewers see the need for change. However, the study admits that such a change will not come easily because market forces and greed may always threaten quality journalism. All right. Throughout the piece, I also saw the use of the active voice, right? So I just jotted that anywhere on my page. So the use of the active voice, and this is how I actually plan my essays, right? I said satire, and I had actually written example and then state purpose, right? And that's how I approached writing my essay. No, I think when I first met this question, my teacher actually gave us the instructions, and we were supposed to write one complete essay stating the main point, the writer's purpose, you comment on the use of 3 strategies and 3 language techniques, and also a third part was there to comment on the, not evidence, but evaluate the source. Yes, I was supposed to evaluate the source. I was supposed to evaluate my source. All right, I think I spelled that correctly now. All right, so what I had done was I planned my essay first. It's always important to outline your plan. It makes writing your essay so much easier, and your plan, that I think CXC gives you a box on one of the pages to plan your essays and stuff. So take advantage of the space that you get there to plan your essays. So I will figure out how am I going to divide my paragraph. So I know I have an introduction, a body paragraph, and depending on the points that I'm supposed to speak about, I'll divide my body paragraphs based on that. And then, of course, you need a good old conclusion. You never complete your essay and not have a conclusion, right? So for this, I think I did it a bit different. I didn't use my conclusion to sum up the things. That's a bit unorthodox, but I have good reasoning for that. All right. The thing is, what I found out that evaluating my sources would not have taken up, I don't think it would have, I would have had enough sentences for it to be accounted as one body paragraph. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't put the evaluation of my source for, one body paragraph, but in the conclusion. Also, the evaluation kind of just gave me a finishing feel to my essay, and I don't know. There are no rules to writing essays. I don't believe there are any rules to writing essays. There's, of course, a standard, for academic essays versus recreational or non-academic essays. So it depends on the person who is writing the essay, all right? So whatever you feel would actually fit your aesthetic and your writing style, because everyone's diction is a bit different. Even though we're a part of the same group, we talk the same, but we don't talk the same, if you get what I'm saying. So it depends on you who are writing the essay. So if it feels right to you, most likely it is right, all right? So just trust yourself a bit when you're writing these things, and don't doubt yourself saying that, hey, this is probably wrong, unless you know that what you're writing is utter garbage. When you're writing garbage, it's garbage because it feels like garbage. All right, so what I did was I said introduction, and in the introduction I would put the main point of my piece, or the writer's piece rather, and state the writer's purpose. Then I said I would get a body paragraph or 2 body paragraphs, and in the first body paragraph I would discuss about 2 strategies. It was supposed to be 3, so 3 strategies. And how I would do that is I would name the strategies, I would provide examples or evidence, and I would state the purpose for using the strategy. So basically, how does it help to bring the main point across and drive the writer's purpose? So that's what I asked myself whenever I was going to discuss things like this. So body paragraph 2 would have discussed the techniques, and there should have been 3 techniques. I think I had put 3 in the essay anyways. And what I would do, I would name the technique. So the technique that I would be naming would be like my topic statement, and then I would go into explaining it. So then I would provide evidence or an example where it was used in the extract that I was given, and then I would state the purpose for using the technique. And again, basically say how it helps to bring the main point across and drive the writer's purpose. And that's how I went about doing it. Now, for the conclusion, I evaluated my source, and I don't think they had said it up here, but the source is actually Awake magazine. It's, I think it's popular because I don't read that many magazines, and I know this one, but I don't know. Some will know it, some won't, but Awake magazine was the source. All right. And for the evaluation of the source, I make it my point of duty whenever I'm evaluating my sources. I think about currency, relevance, credibility, I hope you're not hearing that music. I don't even know where it's coming from. Credibility, validity. Excuse me. As I said, I'm not going to chop anything from the video, so give me a second. Alright, hopefully that was better. And so when I'm talking about evaluating my sources, I think about credibility, relevance, the relevance of the topic, currency, validity, qualifications. So basically, who is giving me this information? Are you an expert, bro? Right? So that's what you want to think about. So qualifications. All right. So with that rundown, let's get into the actual piece that I wrote. And I only have a sample module 1 piece and a sample proposal. For the part 2, I didn't think it was fit for me to write a sample piece because every piece would be kind of like very different, to be honest. Like, you need to know. I'll go through though what you need to know to write it, of course. I won't leave you hanging. So for the introduction, I said the main purpose of this extract is that the actual news content on local television newscasts in the United States is limited, and the news covered encompasses negativity. The writer's main purpose is to sensitize readers to the reality of how airtime is wasted, as most of it is used for commercials rather than important topics that would be beneficial to viewers. Now, I said the main point in this extract is, right, you are required to state blatantly that the main point is you're not supposed to, how should I say this, be fancy with it, right? They want you to tell them plain and simple what the main point of the extract is, right? So, other ways in which you could say like the main point of this is, you can say the main point is about, or the main point speaks to. Let me just do a little writing. So the main point is about the ... Of course, continue, tell me what the main point is about. Or you could say the main point speaks to ... Or you can say, I guess, the main point. There are so many ways in which you can say it, you know. Don't limit yourself. The main point encompasses. I remember in grade 12 I used to love using this word encompasses. I feel like G, man. Anyways, so once I stated what the main point was, I got straight into the beef and just said, yo, the writer's main purpose is, right? I did not go around any corners. I didn't beat around any bush. If anything, we cut straight through the bush and walk to the other side, right? Because you have to even keep in mind that you have a word limit. So you can't be going around corners and telling me about Sally and Brother when Sally and Brother have nothing to do with the essay, right? So you need to manage your words properly. So I said the offer. So I stated that it's to sensitize readers, so basically serve an informative purpose and tell you how, you know, how the reality is that airtime is wasted, and they use most of the news airtime for commercials rather than important topics such as education, sciences, and arts and economic stuff. I guess that's what the extract said, right? And that was it, plain and simple, for my introduction. All right. Then I went into my body paragraph and I said, you need to learn to use transitional phrases or words. So I said throughout the article, the author uses the active voice and here's my first strategy, to give the readers an insight into the issue at hand and to encourage change. So as I said, stated what it was, the strategy was, and I told you how it was used to actually drive the purpose and the main point. Then I said, along with many other language strategies, the author uses inverted commas to bring attention to words such as fluff and soft. And those are my examples, and the strategy I said was the use of inverted commas, right? By bringing attention to words such as fluff, the writer further points out the gravity of the news and its content hardly possessing news topics, right? Then I said the writer uses examples of what is shown on the news by listing segments of the news program like celebrity stories and terrible tenors contest, all right? Pay attention to the fact that I used these 3 dots here, right? I did not write the entire line from the extract. Why? I don't have enough words. I don't have enough word like space to do that. Like, you give me a word limit, I can't waste it on what you can go back up top and read. So I just gave you these celebrity stories as a bit of a reference to what I'm speaking about, but I'm not going to write everything because you have eyes, brother. You can go back up top and read it, right? So you can always use this trick to like cut your word limit a bit, so you have like more words available to you to use, if you get what I'm saying. So then I said this provides readers with further evidence to support the writer's story. It solidifies the general tone of the piece and further brings across the factual data clearly and succinctly. Hyperphora is also used midway throughout the article. What stories make up the news? Criminal stories dominate the TV news. ... Of course, I'm not going to write everything, right? Hyperphora, as I said before, is where a question is posed and the writer gives the answer immediately after. Now, this heightens the reader's engagement. I don't think I should have off the piece. I should probably with would be a better word here. So engagement with the piece and compels the audience to side in favor of the writer as along with a question posed, the answer is provided immediately after, right? So basically what I am saying is, by using hyperphora, the writer asks us, the readers, a question. So that is making me connect with the writer and actually think about that question that he or she is asking me and try to come up with an answer. While pondering that answer, I'm giving the answer immediately after. So I am like urged to agree with what the writer is saying, right? And it creates an impression of a dialogue with the reader's mind and increases reader-writer engagement. Sounds a bit redundant, but now for my body paragraph number 2, which I said I would talk about the techniques, I used this for my transition. I said the writer also uses a few language techniques to enhance the piece. Firstly, the writer uses alliteration, terrible tenor contest, sandwich spread at supermarkets, right? To add a rhythm and bring attention to the things which is carried on the news. It reminds the readers of the main point of the article and helps them to stay focused on it, echoing the seriousness of the piece. The line, if it bleeds, it leads, or plays a satirical tone featured throughout the piece. So here's another technique. So I said alliteration and satirical tone or satire, right? It evokes humor as it expresses the extent to which the programs brought on the news by the information department in the United States is irrelevant. The writer also uses hyperbolic words such as fluff to emphasize the situation. This further causes the reader to give thought to the issue and either agree or disagree. The piece is also saturated with satirical remarks, and I said this already. That's why it's great to proofread this stuff. Alright? So for the conclusion, I said the Awake magazine is a trusted and well-seasoned magazine in presenting information to the public. Usually I would write the year for this, like if it were the Gleaner, man, you'd see that 1834 slapped on that piece of paper. But I don't know all the magazines and when they were like out, so of course I didn't. So but for like the Jamaican Gleaner, I think from 1834 the first Gleaner was released around that time. So I would have said that, you know, it's been providing the information from 1839, I think. So I would have said it's been providing the people with information from about, you know, that much for about that much time. So of course, people would probably think it's giving credible information because it's as seasoned as we believe it to be. And then I said, although the article was written 18 years ago, right? The article may still be considered valid as the topic being tackled is a current probe. So I mean, I'm telling you now that seeing that it's a current issue, it's relevant, right? So if it's relevant, that's cool, right? And if it's relevant, it's current. And also the author uses statistical data. The author's use, what is wrong with me? The author's use of statistical data brings out the factual information presented, all right? So that's how I supported that, you know, that's how I evaluated my source. Could have taken a bit more, but so that's how you want to go about doing your module 1 essay, right? So if you need to, take a break, pause the video, go take a walk, take a breather. Don't use this as a little swatting session. Instead, try to understand what I'm saying, right? And once you understand, you won't forget it. Trust me. If you understand, it not left your head. So after doing your module 1 essay, you want to even think about the time that you have to do your paper and allocate enough time to write each essay and still leave your time to read over. So pressure yourself to actually get through it, right? And get your essays written properly as well, you know. Pay attention to grammar and stuff like that. Now for your module 2 essay, what they want, this is what the revised topics thing that CXC sent out says. So you need to know about these: dialectal variety, language registers, communicative behaviors, and attitudes to language, and be able to speak about it, right? So you need to be able to pick it up in a piece and actually talk about how it is used in the piece and what effect it has on the piece, right? So basically, if you know what they are, how it's used in sentences or how it's used in extracts, you just need to read. That's all I'm telling you. Just read through a couple extracts and you start seeing them like, right? So this was a 2017 paper. Somebody asked me to go through the 2017 paper, but I'm so sorry I can't go through all of it. So I'll just do section B from it, all right? I hope that's cool with you. So here we go. So this is once met up. Oh my god, I hate reading Creole. Oh my god. I once met a poet, English poet, a West Indian. You understand? One of those who was always claiming, oh, we take over the motherland. We was both waiting on taxi, and this man nearly get me mad because just he start discussing culture in Trinidad. Well, I tell him I was a poet, and I does use the vernacular. Well, you would I? Jesus Christ. I apologize in advance. Well, you would have swear that I cuss this man or insult his grandmother. That man start talking language like he work in BBC. Oh my god. Or he had the English department at the university. If you hear him, this dialect your fellow talk about, it really has to go. You're all just neo-colloquials, an embarrassment to us who know such a limited language, if language is the word. It seems more like garbled English, the worst I have ever heard. English is now our language. It's no longer the Englishman's. Like cricket, we now control it. Do try to understand. Why should one preserve this dialect? So frivolous, it's just a fad. Always changing, no vocab. It's simply speaking bad. It isn't even standardized. It goes each and every way. Some call it native language, the vernacular, others say. What use is speaking dialect when you have to go abroad or speak at some great conference? They won't make out a word. You chaps misled the people by holding up on high a base part of our culture that should be quietly left to die. Think of names like Milton, Prospero, or Caliban. Think of William Shakespeare. That's the heights of language, man. But what's this, and that, and them? Unless it's just for style, and if it's just for impact, it's hardly worth the while. Take myself for instance. I've got my PhD. I can tell the world about English at university. I think they wanted that university to be like university. Anyways, I've got Roger Thesaurus. I've got my book of quotes. You will never hear me use such words as wassy, scrunt, or jorts. When you run from dialect, is you running from you. So the answer is the maxim, to thine own self to be true. So I don't worry, take them on. I just waiting to see. When they find out who they are or who they want to be, for dialect don't bother them. Is them that bother it. Because dialect it living home is them that have to fit. Wassy, they give you like the word, the meaning of the word short. Jort is shorts by people of ill repute. Scrunt is woman of ill repute. Why a lot of ill repute here? Wassy, to get in a wild and uncontrollable manner. Alright, let me tell you. I absolutely hate when people say that Creole is broken language. Like, I think Creole is quite dynamic for, what it actually is, and like I don't think that it should be considered broken language, or if people use Creole means to them chat bad. Like, let's say me for instance, like I love chat patois, not gonna lie. It's fun, and I think it helps us as youth to actually know a bit more about our culture and where we're coming from, because history has a lot of things to do with it, from us being colonized to us being free and coming a long way. So I don't think that the use of Creole should be suffocated and shunned on, or given the cold shoulder because people think we chat bad. Like people talking Swahili, I know I'm sure some people don't understand a word. Like, if you talk Swahili, then probably you understand, but like, you're not gonna say people would talk Swahili chat bad because you don't understand what I'm saying. That don't make no sense. Anyways, let's get into it and let me stop ranting and stuff. So it says, in an essay of no more than 500 words, discuss the following. They want you to discuss dialectal variation used by each speaker in the poem. So here I'm telling you, you need to know what dialectal variation is, right? And they want you to also the link, to discuss, the link between language choice and social identification, right? And then you need to speak about 2 ways in which a video presentation could highlight the different perspectives of the speakers. This has a bit to do with attitudes towards language. All right. So first of all, what you want to do is identify the different dialectal variations used in the piece. I think it's a poem. Yes, it's a poem. My memory's so shallow though. Yes, I just read a poem, like ja. Yes, so you want to examine the poem that you just read, right? And you want to see how they use the language differently in this one community. So in the Caribbean, we have what is called a language continuum or Creole continuum, where we speak about the baselect, the mesolect, and the acrolect, right? I'm going to write that somewhere for those who have never heard this before, so you can like write it down. So baselect and meso. Meso means middle, all right, fun fact. And you have the acrolect, all right. Now it says that the baselect is used by people who aren't so privileged to education, the impoverished, basically those people who haven't really gotten the chance to be upgraded intellectually, or on the intellectual sphere, or in the intellectual sphere rather, or on that scale or ladder, right? So people who chat really bad patois, like patois way you probably don't know, or patois or Creole that you really can't understand. So that's what they say, people like who uses the baselect, right? So I'm from Jamaica, so let's use that as an example. So people in, Jamaica has different parishes, and I've heard this thing where they say that it depends on which parish you come from in Jamaica, like the patois different or Creole is different, so you don't really, like, somebody from Ochi will talk a patois, or Ochi is not a parish, Saint Anne, let's say Saint Anne, and then someone else in, say, St. Thomas would have a different variation of the patois. So it's not like universally understood, and I can't attest to that because I don't travel anywhere. So then the mesolect would be a mix between, like, you can say it represents the middle class, because those would be the people who, they say, use both the Creole and, Jamaican Standard English, or let's not say Jamaican Standard English because it's a Caribbean exam, Standard English, right? Those who use Creole and the Standard English, whether that be some French Creole and some other Standard English, or, the Jamaican Creole and, Jamaican Standard English, right? But then you have the acrolect, which they say are used by the people of, what you call it, the upper class, right? All flossy, all lugs out and stuff, what we call having heavy drip, right? So those people are the ones who are a part of who have PhDs, masters, high positions in parliament, people who are media personalities, people who have money, full stop, that's how they refer to it, like upper class people. So people who of the upper class, or people who use the acrolect, would be those who are a bit more privileged, I guess. So you want to think high aristocracy, high level, high end people, right? So that's it. But I don't think this whole continuum thing is necessarily true, because what? I am sure that the Prime Minister used patois now and then, right? So I guess it depends on the person, but that's what they're talking about, right? So you're going to talk about how this is used throughout the piece as per the different language varieties, right? And how the continuum is actually employed, and how that speaks to what did they say? The social identification. So this man who is speaking Standard English and all so prim and proper, he said he has his PhD, and he can tell the world about English at university. He's got his thesaurus, his book of quotes. Like, nobody cares that you have a book of quotes. No offense to that man. Like, I don't give any flying fishes, to be honest. And you have what he speaks about Milton, Prospero, or Caliban, all references to William Shakespeare, who was this high-end writer, right? That he says that's the heights of language, man, right? So he is downplaying the language because it's not Standard English. that seems like he is saying that Spanish isn't a language or French isn't a language. That's how it feels to me. I'm quite offended. But let's not take anything personally. It's just a poem. But yeah. Now this woman is defending her language or her dialect because the Creole isn't considered a language for. That's a whole nother story. I'll make a video on that, why the Creole isn't considered a language, but rather a dialect. So she's defending her dialect and saying that it is not speaking bad. It is not, right? But she says that she's not going to make that bother her. It's not going to let it bother her because she knows who she is, basically. She knows who she is. She knows who she is. She knows how her language is. She knows what it's about. She knows the origins, how it came about. She knows all of that. So for this man to be judging her based on her language and actually putting her in a social class because of that, it's not right, right? So you just need to speak about how the language used was actually used for social identification and how, the different dialectal variations used, right? And you want to speak about 2 ways in which a video presentation could highlight the different perspectives of the speakers. All right, through giving audiovisual aid, AID, not aid, from presenting audiovisual aid, that can have many advantages because it can show you exactly what's happening, giving you direct insight. You can see, like, for some people it's easier to see what's happening and understand what's happening, so that could be a point, and it can give you a bit more hands-on view or insight into the situation, so you can see how the woman is reacting versus how the man is reacting, and you can get insight into communicative behavior. So also gestures, facial expression, things like that will come into play, and that from it can pick up tone from facial expressions and body language. You know that there is a whole new avenue to communication that opens up right there. Because let's say you're talking to someone over the phone, you're just hearing their voice, right? And you say, hey, you can help me out with my homework tonight? And the person is saying, yeah man, sure, just call me whatever time you're ready and thing. But sister, them face skin up from here so to Africa. But if you were in front of them and sister them face skin up like them smell something, then you would know that, hey, this person don't really want to help you, so I better you go your other way and go try find help somewhere else, right? But instead, you're just hearing their voice saying, hey, yeah, I want to help you. But in truth and in fact, they don't want to help you, and you end up in some foolishness. You get what I'm saying? So that's how, a visual representation can help you. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying and I'm not talking too fast. If you're getting what I'm saying, make sure you leave that down in the comments and tell me that you're enjoying the video and I'm not boring you to death, because I know how these things can stay. And it's like, 48 minutes, and I told you I'm not doing any cuts. I'm posting the video raw so you can just get it and get studying for your exam or doing your final preparations. Now for this module 3 question, I'm going to apologize from now. I could not for the life of me find instructions. I could not. So I just wrote based on what I remember, but this was what we were supposed to do. So you and the team of the Technology Innovators Club has come up with a new app and would like to do a test run. That should have been run. As I told you, I was trying to pump this out real quick for you guys, so forgive my mistakes. So a test using students at school. Test run, like a test run, yeah. So Write a proposal to your principal making the request. So include a name for the app. I know that was a part of the instructions. I was also supposed to state how it's beneficial and how it will be presented, right? So for your proposal, this is where you get persuading. For the rest of the pieces, they are more factual based, so they're more argumentative, like stating that this is this and that's the fact and support it with evidence. Now, this proposal is supposed to persuade the person who you're making the request to give you your way. Kind of sound weird, but yeah, you want your way, so you're going to pull out your techniques. Now, before I go into anything, ensure that you guys know the different logos of appeals, right? Because this, sometimes they're going to tell you to talk about that in your pieces, so to tell how you can use those appeals and which ones you'll use and how that will help your proposal, right? So let's get into what I had written. I think I got full marks on this. Actually got full marks on this piece and the piece up top. I think I don't remember. Most of my things I got full marks on, to be honest. So the members of the Technological Innovators Club have created an app called Study Buddy Lite. It is aimed at helping students with their school lives by measuring and assessing the students' productivity. Though there is a possibility of the student's privacy being infringed, it is highly unlikely. There may be issues with accessibility, as the application is not yet compatible with iOS operating systems, so will therefore be inaccessible to Apple users. Also, students and parents alike may not want to participate in this exercise. Nevertheless, the team is seeking your permission to carry out a test run on willing participants, as our ultimate goal is to correct any issues and improve the students' overall productivity and performance. Now, you know, I'm there off the bat telling you what is wrong with my piece. Normally, I know that if I'm going to a business meeting or an interview, I'm not going to tell you what's wrong with me first before I tell you what's right with me, right? But for this, I did say what's wrong first, but then I said that even though there's possibility of this going wrong, it's highly unlikely. So that's why I thought it was okay to just, off the bat tell you what's wrong, what may be wrong with my app before, before I go into how it will, how I'll present it and stuff. And I told what the first thing I did was I told you off the bat what my app was. So it's called Study Buddy Lite, and what is it used to do? It is used to track students' life by measuring and assessing their productivity, right? And of course, with an app like that, of course, there will be some infringement on privacy, because it probably asks for age, the school at which it's being used, the different subjects that you do. So that's all private information, but you're still going to give it to the app, so that's still but it's no harmful infringement. So then I stated that this is our first run, so people using Apple devices, you're not going to have access to it, but that's okay. We can use Android users. That's all we need. So we need students, and I said that even though students and parents might not be willing to participate, we're still seeking the permission to carry it out, because there will be some willing participants. Everybody now got against it, trust me. For things like that, not everyone will be against it. So we want to do this because even though we might not get the okay from some parents and some students, we want to do this because our ultimate goal is to correct any issues and to improve the students' overall productivity and performance, right? So yeah. Study Buddy Lite, name, what is it? It's aim, right? And possibility of that not available for iOS operating system users or Apple users, and nevertheless, that's my turning point right there, and Oh my god. And guys, this is literally a screenshot from the paper that I gave to my teacher. So that's why it's not typed out. Like typed out on the screen. I think you get what I'm saying. Now, through careful planning, we hope to persuade the students and parents to pursue this project with us. We plan on engaging the audience by the use of a mixture of the Jamaican Creole and Jamaican Standard English. The formal register will be used, and although we will utilize the Jamaican Creole, the language register may still be considered formal, as it is only applied to make the app relatable rather than informal. Because I'm basically saying that my team and I understand that we're not only talking to parents but students, so we need to switch it up a bit, switch up the way or the mode of communication a bit, so I can actually reach the students as well, because I'm not only trying to convince the parents that I'm trying to make their child's or children's life better, but I'm trying to persuade the students as well that, hey, I'm here to help you, right? So that's why I said that I would use a mixture of both the Jamaican Creole and the Jamaican Standard English. Now, the reason for using a mixture of both language varieties is to reflect the way in which students within the school speak on a regular basis and to increase the students' relatability to the application. Now, the Jamaican Standard English will be used to help communicate the seriousness of the message, as at the end of the day, we hope to have a successful implementation geared at helping our peers along with ourselves. We plan to present this idea to the parents at a Parent Teachers Association meeting, what we call a PTA meeting, and we will also inform the students about the app in the school's newsletter and via posters as a way of visual communication presented around the campus. The application will be launched online and made available for online sampling, having a short survey after a few weeks of using the app. The survey solely queries the student's experience with the app after a period of a single week. This will help us to figure out the issues which the app possesses. I think I'm reading faster than my brain is comprehending. The application will be available for use on smartphones, tablets, and any other device which is compatible with Android operating systems. Now, the app will be presented via the Google Play Store for free. I urge you to consider this proposal, as we strongly believe that this application has the capability to improve the students' lives and produce better students and happier parents. Better grades, mommy and daddy face smiling off ear to ear. So help us to foster the incrementation of productivity and performance of our students. And that was my proposal. So this was like a pitch, right? If you want help with pitches, go watch Shark Tank. Not sending you to go binge watch nothing right now, because it's exam time, but watch an episode of Shark Tank and see if you get the idea of how you make a pitch, right? Your pitch is basically how you're going to sell your product. From you can't sell your product in a room with a few investors, you can't sell it to the public, right? And don't get me wrong, not everybody in the room of investors have to, agree with your product. Like, just get one person on board and you're good, brother. So, yeah, this was it. 58 minutes, this is a new record. I hope I wasn't talking too fast, but the gist, the drill. Like, drop a like on this video. Of course, I've told you to comment so many times. And don't be afraid to hit me up on Instagram at _CAM_EO. My name is Camille, by the way. And at young_genius.official. Also, that's my business IG page. So, also, I must tell you guys, if you do message me on Instagram during this exam period, I may be a bit slow to answer. So I'm sorry about that, but I guess the best way to get a hold of me is not even on app. It's not even on WhatsApp right now. Because yeah, you can find my number anywhere. My business number, that is. You can find it anywhere on Instagram, down in the description of my channel. So make sure you subscribe and just go to the main page and go check out the things that I have for you there. And yeah, I guess that's basically it. All the best on your examinations. I hope this video really helped you. As I said, it wasn't really an in-detailed thing, but it's just a quick run through of what you might need. If I was talking too fast, just reverse the video and go watch it again. And I guess enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and until I drop another video, bye bye. And last but not least, hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so you know every time I post. I know you like my vibe. That's all the reason to hit that subscribe button. I'm a dip out now. I'm talking too much.